Hey y'all, you tuning in with me today. This is my second video on this epidemic. I'm gonna try to talk slow and try and pronounce these words that everybody can hear and understand. I've always had a heart for the elderly and children, but since my mother passed away last April, it has become more intense on this subject for me. So, let's get started. Nursing home and long-term care facilities, abuse and neglect is everyone's responsibility. Will you be their voice? Physical neglect, verbal and emotional neglect, and verbal or emotional abuse are perceived as the most prevalent forms of abuse. Some reasons of the abuse: lack of skills and training, lack of empathy for the elderly, inadequate supervision of staff, and the more severely ill the residents are plays a big part. If the patient is hard to handle or uncooperative, the more debilitating the disease is. Frustrated staff take out their stress on the residents. There is the lack of sufficient training and behavioral skills to cope with different situations with the elderly. Lack of stress, management skills, personal problems of the staff, the lack of knowledge to understand the problems of the elderly, like Alzheimer's disease. Nurses has problems of confronting and supervising and training staff. The inadequate supervision of direct care staff contributes to the abuse, and nurses often lack the training to adequately perform these functions. Most nurses are not educated in these areas. Administrative or management factors also contribute to nursing home resident abuse. Inadequate supervision of staff, high staff turnover, low staff to resident ratios. Texas released a report entitled Intolerable Care, a snapshot of the Texas nursing home quality crisis. Their findings reveal the sad reality of what is happening in nursing homes in Texas and elsewhere. Poor care, abuse, and neglect is allowed to persist because of insufficient oversight and policies that enable owners and administrators instead of the elderly and disabled. The report shows that out of 17,466 state violations, the state only pursued action in 40 cases. This statistic alone is enough to spark concern. But added to the fact that many of the nearly 18,000 violations were against facilities that had already been reported as violating state nursing home laws. The first law basically gives facilities a get out of jail card free. If the state surveys a facility and sees violations, including those that put residents in immediate danger, the facility is able to correct the problem in time for another survey. A 96-year-old dementia nursing home patient. Her daughter found an aide stuffing latex gloves into her mother's mouth, while another taunted her, tapping on her head, laughing. These are reported to be at the bottom of the barrel. The lowest ranked nursing home states that scored an overall failing grade include Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Michigan, Missouri, Iowa, New York, Illinois, Georgia, Indiana, and New Mexico. There are nursing home videos all over the internet of workers abusing these little old elderly folks. I have some posted to my Facebook page. They are very disturbing and heart-wrenching for me to have to watch. One such video is of an aide standing in the middle of an elderly person's stomach while they lay in their bed. One being slapped, one left lying on the floor while she texted on her phone. One where two workers took their baby dolls and slung them across the floor, hung them up in the ceiling as they were choking the babies and laughing about it while they were doing it. That video is on my Facebook page. It's horrible. Just horrible, horrible acts against our elderly. It must be stopped. My advice to you is, if you have elderly in these places, install hidden cameras. That's how these got found out. And there are many, many more. Check their bodies for yourself. Don't just assume you will be told and kept up to date with their changes. Take photos. Do your own documentation. And if you know or see any of these horrible acts, it's your responsibility to contact family members and the authorities. Please stand up and be a voice for these precious, helpless souls. One day, if the Lord wills, we too will be elderly and most likely be in one of these places. Please stand up. They need your help. They need your voice. These things has to stop. It's everywhere. It's in small communities, small towns, big cities, large states, little states. No elderly nowhere is exempt from these things happening to them. And I hope, I don't wish anything like that on any of your elderly, and I hope you never have to go through any of these things. But you need to be prepared. You need to check on them. Don't just leave them to the will of others. God bless you.